For those of you who follow the show, you've seen Master CFI Jim Alsip's Hangar Talk series. Well, now Jim has put together a 4-part series on spins that I thought was worth devoting an entire episode to. Be sure to watch it all the way through. This is training that could save your life.
Don't go anywhere. Gatv Online will be right back. Yay! Yep, you should have recorded that. Has it?
All right, you are go. Now we see the you got it. Now we see the now you got it. Now we see the you got it. Now we see the now. All right, you are go.
Gatv Online's website is devoted entirely to general aviation. Not only can you watch each episode of GATV 24/7, but GATV Online can be your one-stop for all of your aviation needs. Like our flight planning page, where you can check the weather, plan your flight, and even file your flight plan. And the Flying Resources page gives you quick access to many other aviation websites. There are other pages that cover upcoming events, tell more about the GATV crew, plus please check out our sponsors links page, whose support makes GATV and GATV Online possible. New to our website is our flight training page, with loads of information about becoming a private pilot or a sport pilot, including links for flight instruction and ground school. We always like to hear from our viewers, so drop us an email with any comments or suggestions. That's GATV and GATVonline.com. If you are planning on attending the Piper Cherokee Heritage Journey in December, we have great news. The final event date has been changed to February 12th. It will still be at the Vero Beach Airport, but now the event will happen on the same day as the Vero Beach Airport Open House and Airport Day. This will be after the holidays, with plenty of events for the entire family. Come join us to celebrate the Piper Cherokee's 50th anniversary. For more information, visit them on the web at piper.com.
In this episode of Hangar Talk, we will discuss the stall. It is the first of 4 episodes that aim to put a fresh spin on the dreaded stall spin. Are you apprehensive about flying an airplane outside the limits of your experience? Do you avoid practicing slow flight and stalls because you are anxious about spins? Let's meet the beast head on. This film clip shows a fully developed spin as seen from the cockpit. A bad ending? Not necessarily. Not if the pilot has had spin training. Do not fear the spin, understand it. Spins are a natural gait for some airplanes. Just another thing airplanes do. Like slow flight, climbs, and turns, a pilot must train to do a spin well. Spin training should begin with an introduction to stall and unusual attitude recovery. A pilot needs to understand that a heavy hand or misuse of the controls during an unusual attitude can stall the wing and begin a spin event. What exactly is a stall? A stall occurs when the wing exceeds its critical angle of attack. The angle of attack is the angle formed between the chord line of the wing and the relative wind. A wing can stall at any airspeed and any power setting. A stall results when excessive loading, that is to say, deflection of the elevator, causes the wing to reach its critical angle of attack. Stall recovery requires unloading the elevator to reduce the wing's angle of attack. Stalls are great fun, and there are many kinds of stalls. Practice all of them. Recover from any stall simply by unloading the airplane, releasing the yoke. It is easy. Do not over control, just release the back pressure on the yoke. Forcefully shoving it forward is not necessary. There's one exception. And what is that exception? That's right, recovering from the trim stall, typically during a go-around. A prudent pilot is one who routinely practices stalls and stall recovery in his or her airplane. However, that training is not complete unless it includes the use of top rudder. I think unloading the elevator to break a stall and using top rudder are the two most important skills a pilot can have. In the next episode of Hangar Talk, I will discuss using top rudder. We'll see you then.
Have you ever looked up at a small plane flying overhead and wondered what it would be like to fly? Well, here's your chance. U.S. Sport Aero Club can train you as a sport pilot in as little as 2 weeks for less than $4,000. U.S. Sport Aero Club has an inventory of new sports cruisers, now the Piper Sport aircraft, that for club members cost only $90 an hour to fly, including fuel. Once you join U.S. Sport Aero Club, not only do you get to fly meticulously maintained aircraft at a low fixed cost, but your membership gains you access to 3 locations throughout Florida, with over 7 aircraft available. If you're already a pilot and want to add additional ratings, U.S. Sport Aero Club can train you for your instrument rating or even a Sport Pilot CFI. If you're not a pilot and this sounds too good to be true, you owe it to yourself to call them today and take a discovery flight. Call U.S. Sport Aero Club at 772-349-4633 or check us out on the web at ussportaircraft.com.
Treasure Coast Avionics in Fort Pierce is your one-stop for all of your avionics needs. They have a huge inventory of parts and the expertise to service all major brands of electronics. Whether you need service, certification, or a panel upgrade, Treasure Coast Avionics can get the job done right. If you're looking for that new panel, they have state-of-the-art design capabilities with CNC machining to turn your dream panel into a reality. Treasure Coast Avionics is located on field at the St. Lucie County International Airport. Click on their logo on the Gatv online website for more information.
This episode of Hangar Talk is the second of 4 discussions that aim to put a fresh spin on the dreaded stall and spin. This episode is titled Using Top Rudder. In part 1 of this series on spin training, we discussed the stall and stall recovery. In this episode, we will take stall training to the next level with a discussion about recovery from upsets and unusual attitudes. A pilot needs to understand that a heavy hand or misuse of the controls during an unusual attitude can stall the wing and begin a spin event. Avoid a stall and you avoid a spin. So, what is an unusual attitude? The answer is subjective. My definition of an unusual attitude is when that inner voice says, "Oh, shucks," you're in an unusual attitude. Top rudder is the top rudder pedal in the cockpit. The rudder pedal on the sky side of the airplane. Use top rudder and aileron in the same direction to recover from a nose-low, unusual attitude. Over banks, recovery from an aggravated stall, upsets from weight turbulence. These are examples of a nose-low, unusual attitude. In those situations, the pilot must react instinctively and immediately with top rudder. When an airplane reaches a bank near 40 degrees, it will begin to increase its bank without the use of ailerons. We call this an overbanking steep turn. It happens without control input and frequently takes the pilot by surprise. When pilots find themselves in an overbank, they tend to use outturn aileron. The better choice is to use top rudder and aileron in the same direction. During a stall, it is typical for the airplane to drop a wing. Using aileron to recover is not effective because of low airspeed. What is the best practice for lifting a wing during stall recovery? That's right, top rudder, aileron the same direction. An encounter with weight turbulence can upset a small aircraft to a nose-low, inverted attitude. The situation is dire if it happens at a low altitude. Upset to inverted? Don't worry. What are you going to do? That's right, top rudder and aileron in the same direction. The basic principle of unusual attitude recovery is to avoid a stall. Unload the elevator during recovery from unusual attitudes and the airplane will not stall. To recover from the nose-low, low wing attitude, use top rudder with aileron in the same direction. Keep the elevator neutral. So far in this 4-part series, we've learned that stalls occur when the wing exceeds its critical angle of attack. A pilot should unload the elevator to recover from a stall. A pilot should use top rudder to recover from the nose-low, wing-low, unusual attitude. In part 3 of this series, we will discuss zero-G recovery from the nose-high, unusual attitude. We'll see you then.
You've tasted the freedom of flight. Now experience true freedom in being able to land on the water. Adventure Seaplanes is your one source for training, rentals, sales, and guided tours, offering 2 locations for your convenience: North Minneapolis in the summer and fall, and Central Florida in the winter and spring. You can get your seaplane rating in as little as 6 hours over a weekend, and remember, Adventure Seaplanes also has rental aircraft with several to choose from. If you're not a pilot, Adventure Seaplanes offers rides so you can treat that special someone to an exciting experience or a ride the kids will never forget. To get in contact with their experienced flight instructors, call Adventure Seaplanes at 612-868-4243 or visit them on the web at adventureseaplanes.com. GATV's website and show are devoted entirely to general aviation. If you want to see your business soar, you should partner with us and our other sponsors so collectively we can promote the sport of flying. By advertising on our show and website, you can help share our passion for flying and expose more people to your business at the same time. For advertising rates, simply click on the airplane logo on the GATV online website.
This episode of Hangar Talk is the 3rd of 4 discussions that aim to put a fresh spin on the dreaded stall and spin. This episode is titled Zero G Recovery. So far in this series, we've learned that stalls occur when the wing exceeds its critical angle of attack. To recover from a stall, a pilot should unload the elevator. To recover from a nose low, wing low, unusual attitude, a pilot should use top rudder. In this episode, we will discuss zero-G recovery from the nose high, unusual attitude. There are two categories of unusual attitudes, nose low and nose high. The key point in recovery from a nose low unusual attitude is the use of top rudder. To recover from a nose high unusual attitude, the key point is to fly a zero-G maneuver. You load an airplane when you deflect or apply pressure to a control surface. You unload an airplane when you return all control surfaces to their neutral position. An airplane is at zero-G when there is no load on it. An airplane will not stall at zero-G. If an airplane will not stall, it will not spin. The definitive principle of upset recovery is to avoid the spin. This is a very nose-high, unusual attitude. Recovery from such an attitude applies two simple principles. First, unload the airplane. It will not stall at zero-G. Second, from a nose-high attitude, an airplane at zero-G will follow a ballistic flight path to a nose-low attitude. Reduce power to idle to extract yourself from a nose-high attitude. The reduction of power will take the effects of engine and propeller torque out of the recovery procedure. With power off, unload the elevator, rudder, and ailerons. Allow the airplane to follow a ballistic zero-G flight path, like a baseball. Do not worry about wings being level. You will be light in the seat near zero-G. Enjoy the ride. The airplane is following a ballistic flight path. The nose has moved from the nose high attitude to about level with the horizon. The airplane has rolled about 80 degrees to the left. When the nose is clearly below the horizon, use top rudder and aileron to level the wings. Then apply back pressure to recover from the dive. Add power when safely back to straight and level flight. The key points for recovery from a nose-high unusual attitude are no power. In an emergency, the gyroscopic force of your propeller and your less than perfect use of stick and rudder will probably stall the wing. An uncontrolled yaw will put you into a spin. A heavy hand or misuse of the controls during an unusual attitude can stall the wing and begin a spin event. Avoid a stall, and you avoid the spin. In the next episode of Hangar Talk, I will conclude this four-part series with a discussion about spin recovery. Don't miss that one. We'll see you then.
If you're looking for a weekend retreat or a primary residence in a residential flying community, Heaven's Landing may be just the place. Located in northeast Georgia, where they enjoy beautiful weather year-round, Heaven's Landing has a laid-back mountain lifestyle that is easily accessible through the use of general aviation. Here you will find 300 home sites, averaging 1.5 acres each, with taxiable lots or spectacular mountain views and community hangars. Heaven's Landing also has a lighted 5,069-foot concrete runway that can accommodate everything from a Piper Cub to a Learjet, and they even have fuel on site. If you would like to find out more about this beautiful residential flying community, contact Heaven's Landing at heavenslanding.com or simply dial 1-800-HEAVEN-2.
This episode of Hangar Talk is the last of 4 discussions that aim to put a fresh spin on the dreaded stall and spin. This episode is titled Anatomy of a Spin. You have learned that a spin is a natural gait for some airplanes. It's just another thing airplanes do. Like slow flight, climbs, and turns, a pilot must train to do spin recovery well. In this episode, we will discuss each of the 4 phases of a spin: the stall, spin entry, spin development, and best of all, spin recovery. A wing stalls when it exceeds its critical angle of attack. Let's look at a typical lift coefficient graph. Note the rapid decrease of lift at the critical angle of attack. As lift decreases, there is a corresponding rapid and very big increase in drag. During a stall, the differential lift on the wings starts the rotation on the longitudinal axis. The drag starts rotation on the vertical axis. And the down pitching at the stall starts rotation on the lateral axis. At that moment, the airplane has entered a spin, rotating on all 3 axes. Spin development is the 3rd phase of a spin, and it is a very complex subject. What every pilot needs to understand is that every spin is different. Therefore, I teach pilots to recognize and recover from a spin before it can develop. Spin recovery is easy. Spin recovery is the opposite of spin entry. To spin, we stall the wing and rotate the airplane on its vertical axis. To recover from a spin, we simply stop the rotation and unstall the wing. That is to say, decrease the angle of attack. Rich Stowell, a West Coast Master CFI and aviation educator, has popularized the PARE procedure to recover from a spin. P, power off. A, ailerons neutral. R, rudder opposite of rotation. E, elevator to neutral. The key point, do not change the order of the PAR procedure. Let's join an actual lesson in progress and see what spin actually looks like.
Okay, here we go. 1 turn spin to the left. Very nice entry. There's the 3rd hold at recover. The neutral stick, get off those rudders, and we accelerate towards the ground and gently pull the nose back to the straight level.
This Hangar Talk 4-part series was a discussion about recovering from stalls, unusual attitudes, and spins. I discussed 4 recovery procedures. Unload the elevator to recover from a stall. Use top rudder to recover from nose low, wing low, unusual attitudes. Use the 0G ballistic flight path to recover from a nose high, unusual attitude, and recover from a spin using the acronym PARE. The key points of this series are: unload an airplane's elevator during the recovery from an unusual attitude. Remember that a heavy hand or misuse of the controls during an unusual attitude can stall the wing and begin a spin event. Avoid a stall, you avoid a spin. Use top rudder and aileron in the same direction to lift a low wing during recovery from a nose low or inverted attitude. Recover from stalls, spins, and unusual attitudes with power at idle. In an emergency, the gyroscopic force of your propeller and your less than perfect use of stick and rudder will probably stall the wing, and the uncontrolled yaw will put you into a spin. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope it's been helpful to you. However, watching videos, reading books, and attending seminars are no substitute for actual flight training. Spin and upset training is a great investment. It is fun, and it might save your life.
I would like to thank Jim Alsop for putting together this 4-part series on spins. I've flown with Jim and went through some of his emergency maneuvers training. Not only is it fun, but it could someday save your life. If you would like to experience this level of training in a safe, controlled environment, Jim's number is 772-485-6761, or look him up on the web at DillonAviation.com. You've worked hard to become a pilot. Now proudly display your achievement with Runway Pilot's aviation-inspired apparel. Designed by pilots, they have a complete line of t-shirts, polos, sweatshirts, coats, jackets, and hats for both men, women, and kids. Be sure to check out their shirts made out of the super soft Flytech Performance Bamboo, and they offer free shipping. For more information or to place an order, visit their website at runwaypilot.com. This episode of GATV has been brought to you by Aviation Insurance Resources, Adventure Seaplanes, Data Toys Digital Video Systems, U.S. Sport Aero Club, Be-Light Aircraft, Treasure Coast Avionics, Dillon Aviation Master CFI Jim Alsop, AvMap Satellite Navigation, Heaven's Landing Residential Flying Community, and Piper Aircraft. When we travel to film GATV, it's always in our dependable Piper. But that's all we have time for. I hope you enjoyed the show.
If you get a chance, send us an email. We would love to hear from you. And if you're not a pilot, go take a discovery flight. You'll be glad you did. I know I am.
But if you are a pilot, take a kid flying. Fly safe.